And filmmaker Alexandra Pelosi joins me now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me.
You doing okay?
I don't know. What do you
don't
think?
know?
How am I doing? You tell me.
Well, let me talk about it. I think you're doing pretty well. The concern is your father. And here's what you say. You said your father, Paul Pelosi, is the breakout star of my mother's life and of my movie. The attack on him is not in your documentary, but he plays a giant role. He plays a big part in the documentary. How is he doing?
Well, that's such a tough question to answer because physically he's healing. So if you look at him, he went out to the Kennedy Center Honors and my friends were all saying, this is so great, he's back. Mm-hmm. But these are long, traumatic brain injury is not something that just goes away. And the threats haven't gone away either. So we're still living with this every day. And I don't know how these things heal. This is a very long-term recovery.
Yeah. You don't know. You're still concerned. And there's reason to be concerned about it.
Absolutely. I have not slept through the night. How would you feel? There's no... You have to make sense with this in your mind. You have to make sense with the fact that there's a 82-year-old man asleep in his own bed and gets attacked in his own home. Mm-hmm. And I don't care how you vote. I don't care who, what your political affiliations are. That's just not right in any, there's no way. So making peace with that in your head, it's hard to make peace with. Yeah. And that's why we're still, first of all, we're still under threats. It's not as if the threats just go away. Yeah. This has been something we've been living with forever. And it was so, it was so coming. This was so inevitable. When you think about the hundreds of millions of dollars in ads that the Republicans spent demonizing my mother. Mm-hmm. I used to joke with my father, she turned our last name into a curse word. That was 20 years ago we made those jokes. These ads have been going forever and ever and ever. So our whole family's had a target on our back for a while. Well,
let's talk about your mom. I've seen your mom publicly since it happened, and she's, I asked her how you're doing. She's okay. That's her public face. How is she doing?
I think this is really traumatizing. And I don't think you can't have a morning show answer for this because it's so deep in the psyche of what happens to a person after something like this. It's not something we're doing well. What are we supposed to say? There's not a good answer for this. That's why I'm such a Scrooge this Christmas. I can't go to holiday parties because people come up to me how are you? What am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
My 82-year-old father was attacked in his bed in the middle of the night. How do you answer that?
How do you think I am?
Yeah, how do you think I am?
So, your mom said last month that Republicans' horrible response to the attack might have turned off some voters in the midterm elections. Do you think that is true?
I don't know anything about voters. I don't know anything about this country right now. I'm so, my faith in humanity has been destroyed by all this. So I have no idea if people are good. I have no sense. What I do know is that how the Republicans responded to this attack was so unforgivable. The jokes. You saw the jokes. Mm-hmm. The governor of Virginia, the wannabe governor of Arizona, congressmen were making jokes about an 80-year-old man getting attacked in his own home. I don't understand how that's forgivable. So for me, the toxic media landscape is so hard to try and... I don't know how to talk about this without going so dark. And it's a morning show, and we're trying to be light and happy.
No. We want to be real, and also not condemning people who are, members of the ex-president's family who are sending out and saying just awful things about your father online. Just not condemning that. At some point, where is the bottom?
Wait, tweeting conspiracy theories. The amount of conspiracy theories that were being spread on the internet after this happened, the social media is destroying the social fabric of this country.
You believe that?
I totally believe that we've lost all civility. You don't think that?
No, I'm asking you. Yeah, I limit myself, especially when it comes to Twitter, because I think it's so toxic. But I want to know what you think about that.
Well, I'm not on social media because I think it is so toxic, and I think it really has destroyed conversation. I have friends who actually have asked me questions that come straight out of conspiracy theory playbooks. Yeah. That I think, where do you hear this stuff? The internet just spreads this viral, toxic. It's really dangerous because it trickles down to unwell people.
Do you think that contributed to January 6th?
Absolutely. I think that January 6th is, what's interesting about January 6th is that not everybody that was there that day is a bad person. There were plenty of good people that showed up to air their First Amendment right to protest, right? But then some of them got carried away. And that's where it gets tricky. It gets really tricky when you start to say, well, what's okay? It's okay to show up and protest. It's okay to get outside the Capitol and wave a flag and say you don't agree. But then it's not okay to break the window, go into the building, literally poop in the Capitol, like literally poop in the Capitol. I took my teenage boys through the Capitol. As soon as the Capitol was cleared and we got to go back inside, they destroyed the Speaker's office. Like, they broke everything, like in the kitchen, and there was just pure destruction everywhere.
I need to say that you were there to film, and this happened as you were there that day. You weren't expecting this to happen. You just happened to be there filming this documentary, and you were with your kids, right?
Right.
And then this unfolded. You'd never expected in a million years that anything like this, obviously.
In hindsight, you think you could have seen this coming, considering how toxic the political dialogue has gotten in this country. If I think about it now, I have to say, I should have seen it coming, because I've made a lot of these documentaries. You know, this is my 14th HBO documentary, and I've made films where you go into real America and you make friends and you stay at their house and you talk to them about politics and how do you see the world versus how I see the world. And I've seen over time the landscape has been just getting more poisoned.
This is a moment from January 6th that you filmed, and here's what your mother talking about Trump. This is your mom. Watch.
Nobody comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my mom.
I would pay to see
I've
that.
been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
Take us behind that moment, because we don't hear your mom speak that way, but she rarely loses her cool. I don't think she lost her cool there, but she was very upset.
Well, you have to understand her father was in Congress, and she's been in Congress for 35 years. So the Capitol is sacred ground for her. And so the idea that this was just becoming a big freak show was very offensive to her. You have to understand how she believes public service is a noble calling, and she believes what they do is God's work. She really believes this in her soul. She's been doing this. This is her life's work. So the idea that he was just going to come make a mockery of this official proceeding that was in the Constitution really offended her.
So then it must be, I don't want to put words in your mouth, infuriating or just an interesting position to be in to see the stances that they're taking now, many of them, especially the Kevin McCarthy going after that to kiss the ring and this whole sort of pretense about an election being stolen and not really standing up for it and, you know, sort of straddling the fence. That must be an interesting position to be in, having been behind the scenes with cameras, witnessing them working together, and now I don't know, what happened?
I think, you remember truthiness? I think
Yes.
the biggest problem is trying to make sense of the fact that there have always been two strong sides in this country, and they did not agree.
Mm-hmm.
But now, there's no truth. There's no, we can agree, we can stipulate to this set of facts. There's no facts anymore. And that's the hardest part, because I have teenage kids, and I have to explain to them, like, there are some facts. There are things that are true, these truths, right? Now, it just seems like everybody's just making stuff up, and you can say whatever you want, and there's no truth anymore.
You were there the day that your mother stepped down, announced that she was stepping down from Democratic leadership. Tell us about
I think that was the best day of my adult life.
Are you serious?
Oh, I feel so liberated.
And what about for her, though?
I think she's free. I think there's a lot of weight that comes with these kinds of jobs. And I think that over time, it's really become, I mean, you're just slaying all these dragons. It's just, at some point, you're just done. After my father was attacked, that was it. We were sitting in the ICU, and we were just saying, we're done. That's it. She gave 35 years to this country, whether you like her politics or not, because you don't have to like Nancy Pelosi. If I watched Fox News, I would hate Nancy Pelosi too. I get it. You don't have to support her politics. You have to at least say, okay, she spent 35 years doing this. Her husband, it looks like Frankenstein over here. She's done. She's done. Mm. And what I didn't like was in the time between the moment she was done and the moment she announced was all the people saying, you have to stay on. Your country needs you. Keep going. Keep fighting. It's like, let her go. Yeah. She served her time. Just let her go.
Were you saying, Mom, please don't listen to them?
Of course. Yeah. I get the call from my friend at CNN that my father's been attacked. I get on a plane, I go to San Francisco, and I'm sitting in the ICU with my mother. And I said to my mother, I was very upset. And I said, you know, when I was 16 years old, you came to me, and you said she loves to tell this story. It's like one of her favorite stories she tells in her speeches. When I was 16 years old, my mother came to me, and she said, Mommy has a chance to run for Congress, but I won't do it without your permission. Because I was the youngest of 5 and I was the only one that was left at home. So she says, Mommy has a chance to run for Congress, but I won't do it unless I have your permission. And I said, Mother, get a life, right? What teenage girl doesn't want their mom out of the house? Go, right? So there we are in the ICU, and I say to her, if I had known 35 years later where this was going to end up, I never would have given you my blessing to run in the first place. Now, my father, coming out of all that he's been through, says to me, you can't say that. You have to say, if you came to me today in this toxic social media environment, you would not give your permission. But you can't say, the last 35 years of your life, I'm going to erase that because of this one incident. So that's what we're wrestling with. What I'm wrestling with is, was this all worth it for my family? What we went through, was it worth it? Now, my parents would say yes. My father, after all he's been through, he would say yes. And my mother, of course, she would say, I'm proud of my wounds, because she's proud of the life that she's lived. But for the families are the ones that pay the highest price for this kind of life.